righty. I am calling the May 7th regular board meeting to order, and I need a motion to go into closed session to preserve the attorney-client privilege according to North Carolina General Statute 143-318-11A3 to discuss personnel matters protected by the state law and to prevent the disclosure of student information that is privileged or confidential according to FERPA 20 U.S.C. 121-2G and North Carolina General Statute 115C 402. Do I have a motion? Yes, breathe. Carol, I have a second. Paul, all in favor? We are in closed. I would like to call the May 7th Davie County Board of Education regular meeting to order. I'd like to share with you that Wendy Horn regrets that she could not be here this evening. Something did come up around 4 o'clock this afternoon, and she called, and she is so sorry that she could not attend. At this time, I would like for everyone to join me in the invocation. As we gather this evening, I ask this board to be mindful of the business we are about to undertake. We are thankful for everyone in attendance this evening. Father, we are thankful for the opportunity to govern and the freedoms we enjoy. We pause to remember the students, faculty members, and families in our system and in our community who are facing many challenges. Our positive thoughts are with everyone. And as always, we seek wisdom to make the best decisions for the students and the citizens of Davie County. Peace be with you. Thank you. At this time, I would like for a young gentleman by the name of Trey Dingham to come and lead us in the pledge, and he is a Boy Scout from Pack 574.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. That was perfect. Now we come to the part on the agenda where I need for a motion to adopt or to amend the agenda as presented. I need a motion to adopt, please. Chad makes the motion. Do I have a second? Clint seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 6-0. Please note that our next regular meeting will be June the 4th here in this room, but instead of starting at 6, we start at 4. We start the summer schedule in June, so it's 4 o'clock on June the 4th. I now need a motion to approve the minutes of our regular April the 9th meeting as presented. Carol makes the motion. I need a second. Paul seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 6-0. Sorry, I'm trying to watch a screen and do papers at the same time. I am going to do our board report and go over our calendar briefly, but I do want to have some thank yous before I do that. Our board has had the privilege to visit advisory councils this past month. And I'd like to thank Davie High School and Moxville Elementary for hosting, and for the parents of South Davie Middle, Coolamy, Moxville, Davie High School, CDA, and Early College for coming and sharing with us their thoughts and views. Also, I want to thank the teacher assistants for inviting us to a banquet, and also please, everyone, keep your eyes and ears open because TA's jobs are close of not being there, so please keep them in your thoughts, and if you can do anything to help, please do, because they are needed. Our volunteers, we celebrated too also last month, and it was wonderful. And I asked Stephanie to pull together the hours from last year when I heard what all these volunteers had done. There were over 2,658 volunteers on our list, and last year they clocked 48,376 hours helping our children and our teachers. And also, as of November the 12th, volunteers have helped to serve 700 students in our county with the book bags that go home on the weekend. So I commend our volunteers. Also, all of those who attended the county commissioners' meetings over the past 2 months, we do appreciate your support. Beginning soon in May, we will have this Art Smart Festival on the 11th, and we also will begin doing their graduations at William R., Canancer, Pine Brook, and if y'all would let me know where you're going to attend, I would really appreciate it. The retirement reception is on May 21st. Early college graduation, wow, is on May 25th. And we also have board meeting on June the 4th. And I know the students who are in the back are going to be excited when they hear June the 7th is the last day of school for this year. Graduation is June the 8th for the Davie High School, and Central Davie Academy also has graduation on June the 7th. I hope that all of you will be able to attend graduations and celebrate with your children at the end of the school year. You've worked hard this year, and we really appreciate everything. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over to the superintendent.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Another date that I would want to put on the board's calendar to make sure that you note that graduation for the early college is on May the 25th. So we're real excited about that. April and May are very busy months with lots of opportunities to celebrate, and I too want to thank the Board of Education for attending all the events that we plan to celebrate the accomplishments of our staff and our students, and meeting with our parent advisory groups to hear from parents what they like about their school, any concerns that they have about their school, and help us to move along in the right direction. I also want to thank our staff, specifically Stephanie Kofed and all the other folks who plan all of the events every year. You know, I show up when it's on my calendar, but there are so many hours beforehand that take place and so many people involved in making events special for our students and staff. On April the 22nd, the Board of Directors of the Davie Community Foundation passed a resolution supporting the decision of the Board of Education to build one new high school in the county. I put a copy of that resolution in my report section on board docs. We want to thank them for supporting the Board of Education in your efforts. The foundation is in their 25th year, and so far they've given out $4.2 million back to this community in grants and scholarships. And we've invited our president of the foundation, Jane Simpson, to be with us in June at your board meeting to share with you the grants that they're doing this summer for summer programs. I had the pleasure this past week of attending the Community Foundation's Oscars, where 57 of our students received scholarships from the foundation. So we're proud of that partnership. I will tell you there are other communities who would really, really enjoy having a foundation and partnership like what we have. So let's don't take that for granted. Give you a little legislative update. There will be a flurry of activity in Raleigh over the next few weeks. Things are coming down to the wire. The crossover deadline is coming up very soon. Please continue, board, to watch your email box for updates from the School Boards Association, and contact your legislators when there are bills that are pending or committee meetings that are coming up to discuss public school funding or bills that would affect public schools. Right now, the Senate is expected to release a budget mid-May, which is a little later than they anticipated, but we're anticipating a budget coming up in mid-May. Excuse me, and the House will release their budget sometime after that, and then they will begin their negotiations between the two legislative branches. We need to keep our eye on the budget and see if the Senate and House concur with some of the recommendations of the governor. I'm very concerned, as I stated at our last meeting, that the governor's budget included cuts to teacher assistants In a meeting I attended this past week, I'm hearing that the Senate will not include that in their budget, and I hope that information is accurate. That would not be a good thing for public education at all. There are other bills related to school vouchers. They're now calling them opportunity scholarships. These bills will ultimately take public money and divert them to private schools with really no accountability to the public, so I'm concerned about those. The actions recently of the legislature are extremely confusing, and I just want to give you one example. I know that as I talk to my colleagues across the state, if you follow these on a day-to-day basis, you'd absolutely go crazy, because there's so many bills that are in opposition, even philosophically, they're in opposition. Last week, the House gave tentative approval to reduce the number of children eligible for state-supported preschool in half, from 60,000 to 30,000 students, reducing eligibility from 200% of the federal poverty rate to 100%, and that's a family of three making $19,500 a year. So they reduced, in this bill, if this bill were to become law, reduces eligibility for preschool in half. At the same bill, they would bar public school districts from being the contract administrator for preschool programs. So everything would be private, and you would have Smart Start or some other agency overseeing the contracts for preschool. The House was supposed to vote on that bill last night, but it was delayed until today, and I'm not sure what happened with that. At the same time, going in an opposite direction, there were voucher bills that are being introduced, opportunity scholarships, that provide families at 300% the federal poverty rating. So a family of four making $71,000 a year would qualify for an opportunity scholarship or a voucher. So you decrease the eligibility of students in preschool and increase the likelihood of public money going into private education. So there are a lot of conflicting views in Raleigh right now, and we just really don't know where the legislature will end up on some of these topics. So these are ones we need to pay attention to. Senate Bill 236 is a bill that would authorize county commissioners to take over responsibility of public school buildings. That was supposed to be heard in the Senate Education Committee this week, but it has not been calendared or discussed. So that committee only meets one more time before the crossover deadline. Support for that bill is split. Even the County Commissioners Association was divided on that issue, and it narrowly made their legislative agenda. So I don't know exactly where that bill will end up, but I know that some of you are interested in that. I've uploaded also to Board Docs the questions that I received from the Board of County Commissioners this past Friday, as well as the responses that I provided the commissioners last evening. The commissioners did not take action last night on our request for a bond referendum to be included on the ballot in November, but hopefully they will address that at their June meeting and allow people in Davie County to vote on the plan that you approved as a board and the plan that we have presented on April the 1st. Some exciting news before we do our recognitions. If you have seen our website this week, and they're going to pull that up, we were contacted by Newsweek magazine, and Newsweek magazine have designated Davie County High School and Davie Early College High School as two of 73 high schools in North Carolina to be recognized on their list of America's Best High Schools in 2013. How you make it on this list, they consider graduation rate, the percentage of graduates who were accepted into college, AP tests per student, the average SAT or ACT score, AP exam scores, and percentage of students enrolled in at least one AP course. And again, I want to congratulate all of our high school students, high school teachers and staff, and this community for being recognized in this national publication. So congratulations, and Madam Chair, that's my update for tonight.
All I can say for the last announcement is, wow, that is amazing. We are on our way to national recognition. It's what was one of our goals for our 5-year plan. And it's the people in this county that are making it happen. Our teachers, thank you so much. And this time, we do get to recognize some of these lovely people. And at this time, I would like for Beth Weatherman, who's in charge of Student Services, to do the Student Service Person of the Year.
It's my honor as the Director of Student Services this year to talk about our Student Services Person of the Year. She might be the tiniest lady we have in the district, but she packs the mightiest punch. This sprite young lady has been a school nurse or a pediatric nurse for 33 years. That means I wasn't even 10 when she started working. Well, in 32 years, she's been married to her husband, Kevin. They have 4 beautiful daughters, one of which is still in the Davie County schools. And the energy and enthusiasm that Kathy displays for nursing and the passion for kids made her an easy choice to be our school lead nurse. So she has the opportunity. We have 7 terrific nurses, including Kathy, who also covers schools, along with the lead role. She has the opportunity to do scheduling, facilitate meetings, do the oversight, coordination, as well as tend to students every day. Our 7 school nurses cover the 12 schools of our district every day the best they can, and of course there's always a need for more nurses, but we're really happy to have the skilled, trained professionals that we have. And Kathy is an excellent leader, an example, and role model to all of them. It's my honor to say that she was selected as our Student Services Person of the Year out of dozens of applicants or recommendations for this honor. And it was easy to see Kathy's attributes as well as her dedication to her job and her commitment to the school system. And please help me recognize Kathy Bocchino as Student Services Person of the Year.
On behalf of the school board, I want to present Kathy this certificate and hope that the budget works out right. We'll get you a frame to go with it.
Work, we try. Congratulations, tell Kevin Ray. Now, STEM Pipeline Summer Camp, Noelle Grady-Smith.
Good evening, everyone. I am very excited to be here. I'd like to call Mr. Don Tabbitt up to be by my side as I make this announcement. Mr. Tabbitt is going to be the new director of our STEM Pipeline Summer Experience. It will be a camp for 7th graders, rising 7th graders, who are selected according to EVOS scores, which means that we are looking at students who are very able to reach that high level 4 on their testing in a biology class in high school and are looking for a little help, another group, to get to a level 3. So we're mixing a very interesting group of students. We have offered this to 70 students. Our letters went out just this last week. We will be selecting 30 students. Mr. Tabbitt will be directing the camp for 2 weeks. It will be at North Davie Middle School. It is sponsored through the very generous donation to our school system from the Davie Community Foundation in a partnership with the Mebane Foundation. So the STEM activity continues and now goes into our middle schools. We hope to prepare those students to enter into the STEM Center with even more understanding of project-based learning. And they'll be in extremely capable hands with Mr. Tabbitt. Thank you.
On behalf of the school board, we present you this certificate. So, thank you. Thank you very much.
Battle of the Books, Donna McNeil.
Noel.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Hartness, it is my privilege this evening to recognize the district winners of our Battle of the Books teams for both middle and elementary schools. This is one of the highlights of my school year. To see the students as they compete in the Battle of the Books is phenomenal. If you haven't experienced one of those, you need to. Our elementary Battle of the Books team is comprised of students from various elementary schools across our district. We had 38 students across our district who prepared for Battle of the Books in our elementary schools. In order for all students to have an equal opportunity to participate in the competition, they are randomly placed on teams. And each team has a cat name of some sort, Davie County cat names that we've got. So they come in that evening and they have never met, in most cases, the members of their team. So when they come in, they are making new friends. They are learning to recognize facial expressions, body expressions of their teammates. So they are really encountering a wonderful new experience. And when they leave that evening, they have made new friends. And they remember and recognize these friends throughout high school. So in front of us this evening, we have the winning members of our elementary Battle of the Books team. All right, first of all, we have Mr. Zach Smith. No, excuse me, sorry, wrong name here. Zach Shusky. I'm sorry, Zach, I apologize for that. My eyes went to the next line. Zach is from Moxville Elementary School. We have Miss Claire Smith. Claire is, again, Moxville Elementary School. Madison Heron, representing William R. Davie. Okay, and I've got some different names here. We're missing some students. Another member of the team was Aaron Engstrom. Do we have Aaron here tonight? Okay, yeah, okay, there's Aaron. Aaron is from Shady Grove Elementary School. Miss Caitlin Pollard, representing Pine Brook Elementary School. Millie Basinger, representing Coolamy Elementary School, is not here tonight. And Elizabeth Dorsett from Shady Grove Elementary School. So you can see how all the schools are represented in our winning team. These youngsters read a total of 12 different books. And when they read, they are reading for those very minute details, because the questions that they answer are looking for some of the smallest details in those books. Let's give this team a round of applause. All right, the next team that we want to recognize is our middle school Battle of the Books team. We have 3 of our middle schools. They all participate in a competition. Miss Debbie Archer is here tonight with the members of the William Ellis Battle of the Books team. And they were our district winners this evening. And I'm going to let Miss Archer introduce to you the members of the Ellis team. Oh, okay, good. Yeah. This group actually had to read 27 different books and had a wonderful round of competition, our local competition. I think we were down to 1 point between Ellis and the runners-up in our district, and then went on to represent us in our regional competition. Go ahead.
Okay. Our students, contrary to the elementary students, ours do work together and get to know each other very well. In fact, some of our team members have already started working on the competition for next year, which will not take place until March next year. So some of ours have already committed to return, which is a major commitment, especially in middle school. If you see the schedules that some of these kids live with, and then to think that they're still trying to read 27 books and compete against North Davie, South Davie, and then at our regional competition, we had 17 teams. So it's amazing with all the things that these kids have stacked on their plates for them to even think about doing this again, but looking forward to it. But I would like to introduce my team members. The 4 of them are not here, so I'll tell you about them anyway. Michael Brunelli is an 8th grader. He is not with us tonight. He is a 3rd-year member on our team. William Hicks is a 6th grader. This is his 1st year. Foster Johnson is an 8th grader. This is his 2nd year. He was a 6th grade member, and he did not join us in 7th grade, but he joined us again this year. Zane Holloman is here. He is a 1st-year 6th grader with us. Kerrigan Martin is a 7th grader. Elise Robertson is a 7th grader. This was her 2nd year on our team. Jacob Seaman is a 3rd-year 8th grader on our team at Ellis. And Zach Seaman is a 7th grader, and this is his 2nd year on our team. And my coach is Karen Martin, who was not able to join us tonight. But these are great kids, and it's just been a great experience working with them. Would you like me to give those out? Okay. Okay, my team members, you can come over here, and I'll give you your certificate, and you can visit with Mr. Junker. Let's see. You can stay on the committee.
At Brandon Mallon, on behalf of the board, I wish you guys congratulations. A lot of hard work and dedication. It's nice to be recognized for their innovations. Congratulations.
And to think, they're reading plus doing their schoolwork, plus their extracurricular activities. Great job, great job. At this time, middle school science Olympiad, Jennifer Custard.
Good evening. I stand before you very excited about a wonderful group of individuals who have worked hard all year long. Some have worked extremely hard for the past 3 years as they started in Science Olympiad as 6th graders. But I want to introduce to you our 7th grade Olympiad members, who are Shelby Williford, Samantha Smith, Cortland Hardy, Lydia Kennedy, who's not with us this evening, Lily Butterfield, Jeremy Southard, Cloud Beecham, and Patricia Leschuk couldn't be here. Our 8th graders are Jalen Revels, Sarah Perkins, and Michael Sparks is also not with us. But this group has worked so hard this year. Our Science Olympiad teacher is Mr. Degley Angeli, and he could not be with us this evening due to a family conflict. But one of the things he said was, these kids ran it. I didn't have to do anything. They kept him straight, kept him motivated. They worked hard, lots of extra hours. A big thank you to the parents for picking them up at school late, getting them to Raleigh. One of the things I would like to share with you is that Sarah, down on the end, she has placed in the top 10 at states all 3 years as she's been part of this group. So congratulations to her. And this is the 2nd year in a row that this group has gone to the state level as Science Olympiad team. So congratulations to all of them, and thank you again to the parents.
On behalf of all of the members of the board and the staff and schools that have supported you, congratulations. It's a lot of work, and you did really, really good. Science is a good thing.
High School Science Olympia, Noelle Grady Smith.
Thank you, and congratulations. I would like to ask Elizabeth Bussell to come and join me, one of our stellar science teachers, chairwoman of the science department at the high school, and she's going to tell you a little bit about the high school science Olympiad team.
Thank you, Ms. Grady Smith here. I'm sorry tonight. I apologize to the audience and the board. We have a 20-person team, but we also have double booking tonight. 6:30 tonight is the celebration of excellence at Davie High School, and it's the top 8% of our seniors, the top 5% of our juniors, and the top 3% of our sophomores, and that wipes out most of my team. These folks came because they were willing to be late, and so they're also going here in just a few minutes. I also have several that are getting ready for an AP Calculus exam early tomorrow morning as well, and so I am pleased to have my team here. I've had students who have been with me for all 4 years, and they have worked extremely hard. But tonight, representing the team, and I'm glad these are my 3 that are here tonight, we have Noah Johnson first. And again, he is grade 10. He competed in Mission Possible and remote sensing. Beside him is Samuel or Sam Linville, grade 11, also Mission Possible and competed in astronomy. And then besides Sam, we have Ashlyn Whitesell, again, grade 11, competed in Mission Possible, and then also in the material science and remote sensing as well. And the reason why I'm pleased to have these 3 here is that they also achieved a 5th place at the State Science Olympiad, an event that we want to petition and call it, instead of being Mission Possible, we want to call it Mission Impossible, because it spent a lot of sweat and hours and work on that. We attended Lowe's probably more times than anybody, this whole audience attended Lowe's to buy things to put this together, and so they worked very hard on that, and we congratulate them. Other members of the team are Kayla Boswell, grade 10, Kyle Bullens, grade 12, Grace Kane, grade 9, Hannon Dobbins, grade 9, Jack Dodd, grade 12, Reed Heck, grade 11, Michael Hubel, grade 12, Laney Holcomb, grade 12, Jessica James, grade 11, Kasha Lashuk, grade 11, Casper Lutak, grade 12, and then after that I have Todd McBride, grade 11, Josh Peters, grade 11, Caitlin Sizemore, grade 11, Allison Smith, grade 11, Hampton Smith, grade 10, and Alyssa Sutton, grade 11. And so we congratulate the whole team on their success this year.
Ms. Bussell, I'm going to present this certificate to you, and thank you so much for all your hard work and dedication. And all of these I'm going to give to you too to hand out to the students. Congratulations to all of you who are here this evening, and please extend our congratulations to the other students as well.
Thank you very much. And we're going to sort these out in the hallway because it'll take forever to get down through the alphabet, so we appreciate that, but thank you very much for this gift.
All district band participants, Noelle Grady Smith.
I'd like to invite Andrew Jemison, the band director from the high school, to join me at this time at the podium. I would just like to comment, as Mr. Jemison is coming to the podium, that we are so blessed in Davie County to have the expertise and the dedication and the talent that these band directors have, and they pass that directly on to their students. They work tirelessly, and I think they expect their students to work tirelessly. I've seen a little bit of that, but it has really paid off this year, and so as Mr. Jemison will tell you, we've had some excitement across many levels in middle and high school.
I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you for allowing us to speak this evening, and I wanted to say congratulations to all the students who made the all-district band level. Our students from middle school and high school go and audition amongst thousands, literally thousands of students for the all-district, to have the opportunity to be in the all-district band. And this year we had quite a large group of students from Davie County be selected to do that. Several of them are here tonight. And if we'll go ahead and recognize those. I don't know if anyone is here from North Davie. Okay, great, thank you. All right, from North Davie we have Samantha Boger and Carson Prim. And thank you, from South Davie Middle School, Davie Bordeaux and Taylor Smith. From Ellis Middle School, we have, Bryn Howard, Chelsea Strange, Amelia Halverson, Caleb Lanning, and Alec Pfeiffer. And from Davie High School, we have quite a few that couldn't be with us again this evening, but we do have several with us here. Tara Dushiman, Adrian Fouts, Austin Ham, Kyle Hoddle, Noah Johnson, Seth Jones. Seth couldn't be with us here. Danielle Wood. And Ashlyn Whitesell. All of these students got the opportunity to perform with some of the area's most prestigious band directors, college band directors at Wake Forest, and did a tremendous job, excellent concerts, and I could not be more proud of this group and their directors from the middle school, so thank you all very much.
I'd like to say on behalf of the Board of Education, congratulations and thank you for all your hard work.
We have at least one of the directors here. We have two. Could you all come up so we could introduce you?
We do have two new band directors in our county this year. As we know, Ms. Farabee retired last year, and Mr. Whitaker went on and decided to do other things. And we do have two wonderful replacements for those two individuals who are doing an amazing job at the middle schools. Ms. Amanda in Abbott, at Ellis Middle School, and Mr. Justin McCrary at South Davie.
Thank you all so much.
Now we have the State Band Music Performance Assessment. Noel?
As you know, the state of North Carolina has competitions at a very high level with a great deal of sophistication in terms of the student's skill and overall talent. You don't develop skill or talent unless you have dedication. So I want to emphasize that this is due to hours of work. I would like to again call Mr. Jameson to help me with this, and this is recognition of their assessment scores and their ratings at the state level.
Thank you. Each year we have the opportunity to perform for four adjudicators who will give us ratings and scores, basically saying if your band program is doing well. And I'm pleased to say that our county is doing quite well. The students have performed an amazing task this year at each school. I do have some pictures to share with you. Since they couldn't all be here, there's about 150 from my school, 150 so from South Davie, and about the same from Ellis, and I don't think they would fit in here. So just brought along some pictures here. This is our high school wind ensemble. And the high school wind ensemble performed in grade level 5 and 6. And this was, the plaque that you see there was given to us as recognition of our superior rating, and not just a superior rating, but a perfect score of straight ones from each judge. And I would like to brag on the band just a minute. The judges that have the opportunity to judge with us are retired college professors, some from different parts of the country, and each of them I got to see actually after this performance. And two of them, one sent me an email, one sent me a voicemail, and both said out of 55 high school bands that performed that day, this was the best band that they heard the entire time that they were there. So that really says a lot about those students and how much work they put into it. So I want to congratulate them. And I think we have Joey Van Nieman and Adrian Fouts who are representing them tonight, since we couldn't have all of them here. Behind it. There you go. That's fine. That's fine, sure. Next, we have our symphonic band and concert band, and these bands performed together to form a group of around 100 students. This is our concert band. This group is comprised of mainly 10th, 11th, and some 12th graders. And then we also have our concert band group, which is comprised of, this has been the biggest group that I've taught ever, and there are 70 students. So a little over, close to 100 students. And they also received straight superior ratings, a perfect score from the judges at our festival as well in grade 3. So wish them a congratulations as well. And representing them tonight, we have Laura Barney, Johnson Markland, and Emily Rubel. There you go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, and Sarah Bordeaux. Sorry, we can see back there, Sarah. This is our group from Ellis Middle School. Ellis performed in grade 2, also receiving straight superior ratings, a perfect score from the judges at our MPA festival. Is anyone here from Ellis to? Yeah, Chelsea. There we go. Chelsea Strange to represent them, and I wish to them a congratulations, as well as Miss Inabinant, their director. I would also like to say that that South Davie performed as well in grade 2, receiving an excellent score, which is still an amazing accomplishment for those students, and very good comments from the judges about that performance as well. So I'd like to give them and their director, Mr. McCrary, a hand as well. Thank you very much.
We have a multi-talented surprise for you. Chelsea Strange just received an award for being an accomplished musician. She is now going to come forward and sing for us, and that will just give you some idea of the fact that this is a person who embraces the arts and is also a very smart young lady. She was one of the members of our group of students who went to the state level for chorus, and she's going to sing for you a little bit from Guys and Dolls, which is going to be performed at William Ellis Middle School. And it's our way of reminding you one more time that the place to be on Saturday, May 11th, is at North Davie Middle School for the Art Smart Festival. So if I could please present our singer.
Along, I won't take a chance, for oh, he'll be just what I need, not some fly-by-night Broadway romance. Oh no, by the calm, steady voice, those feet on the ground. Oh no, as I run to his arms, that at last I've come home safe and sound. Until then, I shall wait. Until then, I'll be strong. Yes, I'll know when my love comes along.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. And I've been told there's a lot more to that song, and you can hear it on Saturday.
All I can say, another wow again. That was off the scale. I feel like I'm American Idol or something. That was beautiful. It's just beautiful thing. And the talent that was shared with this, with the recognitions, we are truly blessed in Davie County, and I commend everyone who's received an award, and for that extra, going that extra mile. We really do appreciate that. Now we have to get back to business. Oh, I don't like that. I need, next on our agenda is the consent agenda items, and I need a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented. Clint makes a motion. Steve seconds. Any discussions or any questions?
Madam Chair, I need to learn the items that wind up in the consent agenda are placed there. Do the individual committees meet in those related areas and get answers to questions and go through this and then recommend this to the full board?
The consent agenda items consist of budget amendments, personnel, and other different items that the staff brings to us for approval. As far as discussion, that usually takes place among the staff. If there's something that we have to vote on that we are a part of, then we do have committee meetings, but we haven't had any committee meetings. Dr. Hartness, you want to add anything to that?
The consent agenda is for typical, regular, ongoing business items. The personnel recommendations come from the superintendent's office for new people that we're hiring. The board is typically not involved in interviews or those type of activities. Also, the budget amendments are coming from your chief financial officer and are part of regular business of the school district. So they're transfer of funds according to the guidelines and principles of the state budget, federal budgets, and the other budgets that she manages. So these are typical ongoing business type items that don't typically merit an individual discussion of the board. If there's something that's out of the ordinary, we're going to put that as a business item to consider before the full board. This is just an efficiency of running a meeting and not getting bogged down into details.
Oh, any other? All right, seeing none, we have a motion on the floor to approve the consent agenda items. All in favor? 6-0. Thank you. Now we are moving to the business items, and it's lunch price increase. Dawn?
Madam Chair, I would just say that this is a perfect example of a business item that's not a part of the consent agenda because we want to give you an explanation of why there might be a lunch price increase.
Madam Chair, Dr. Hartness, members of the board, to keep Davie County Schools Child Nutrition Department in compliance with Section 205 of the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010. Annually, we take the paid lunch equity tool that is provided by USDA and then transcended down to us from from Department of Public Instruction. We are to enter in our information for meals served, and then we do a weighted analysis to see where our prices, when averaged out, where they meet. If they are in close to where we need to be. There is an annual 2% rate increase that USDA sets, plus the Consumer Price Index is included in the annual price of the weighted that we've got to meet. In calculating the figures for Davie County Schools, we are not near the calculated rate that we need to be at. So in order for us to be in compliance with federal law, I am making a recommendation that we increase lunch prices for the pre-kindergarten level to $2. That's a 5-cent increase. For our K-5 students for lunch, I'm asking for a 10-cent increase, which will move our prices from $2.15 to $2.25. And for our 9-12 students, for our 6 to 12 grade students, that's a typo on my part, I do apologize, from $2.40 to $2.50. This would satisfy the requirement for this year. In your board documents packet, I also gave you a complete paid lunch equity tool that showed you the figures and calculations and some supplemental information that just recently came out for some ulterior guidelines that we could look at to see if we would be in compliance to not do the paid lunch price increase this year. Do you have any questions?
Does anyone have any questions of Dawn in reference to the lunch prices? And this does keep us in compliance.
It does. One of the things that we were hoping that would allow us to not have to come to the board to ask for a price increase is if we were had at least 3 months operating balance. And we currently have 2.33, which I am very proud to have after doing the Coolamy renovation project this year, and then extending free breakfast to all of our elementary kids in Davie County. However, we fall short, so we're going to have to ask for the price increase.
You've completed some major projects this past year completely. I need a motion to approve the lunch price increase as recommended by the staff. Paul makes the motion. I need a second. Carol seconds. Is there any more discussion, any more questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor to approve the lunch price increase as recommended by the staff? 6-0. Thank you, Dawn. Next on the business items, we have Dr. Hartness with the budget draft resolution, and Deborah too.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Board members, you received the budget message and a draft budget resolution in your email on April the 30th. I think that's when we sent that out. And in your packet on board docs, we've added several other documents outlining where we think we are right now as far as state budget and planning allotments, local current expense, revenue and expenditures, our capital outlay budget request, which is a summary of the capital outlay projects that we met as a staff and went through the recommendations or the requests from the schools and honed that down to what you see in our capital outlay budget request. You also see other special revenue funds that are restricted funds that come in as revenue and the projected expenditures there. I would point you to page 17 of this document that's uploaded on your board docs, which is a summary of our fund balance. At the top of the page, it says fund balance analysis, and it's page 17 of 20. We'll come to that in just a minute, but while you're getting there, as I stated last time when we went through the budget, 80% of our budget is personnel cost, salary and benefits. About 11% is operating expenses. So anytime you make a major reduction in your budget, you affect people in the public schools because that's just the type of organization that we run. What I would say about what we're presenting to you is we're presenting it to you according to the timeline in general statute. Don't get too used to it because, as I stated earlier tonight, we don't know what the Senate budget, the House budget, or the final state budget will be. And you know that over 60% of the public school budget comes from the state. So we're heavily dependent upon that. We don't have a good indication of where we're going to be with the federal budget. So what we have presented to you, we're presenting to you based on what we know right now. What we can be assured of is that this draft will change before we adopt a final budget sometime after the state budget is adopted. What I wanted to share with you on page 17, for the past couple years, we have used some of our fund balance to balance the budget. And that was a planned expenditure. We're doing the same thing that a lot of other school districts did when we had a drop in state revenues and an increase in federal stimulus monies. We banked those monies and we're spending those monies down while the state economy recovers. In the budget message, you will see that we're projected to have $1.6 million this next year in discretionary reductions. We'll get around $35 million from the state. We have to identify 1.6 and send that back. In the budget message, you see that the staff recommends that we allocate $800,000 of our fund balance toward balancing this budget. That falls in line with exactly how the school district had planned, even before my arrival, to use the federal stimulus money, is to spend that down while the state economy recovers. For the past 2 years, at least, we have spent $1 million of that fund balance that came in federal monies because we had a decline in the state revenues. So if you look on page 17, I want to walk through this so everybody understands where we are with our fund balance. If you look at the top there, our current expense fund balance in June 30/10 was about $1.7 million. You saw a large increase in 11 to about $4.5 million. $1 million less the next year, $1 million less the next year. So at June 30, 2013, we're projecting our unrestricted fund balance to be at about $2.7 million. You look at June 30, 2013, the restricted fund balance is around $60,000 in current expense. When you look at that combination, we're at $2.79 million. When you look at the current expense budget draft, we're at about $10.6 million. So if we look at our projected fund balance of June 30, 2013 of $2.73 million, and you look at your policy, which is also included on page 18, 19, and 20 of this document, you will see that the policy we adopted last year calls that we keep 17% of the current expense budget in fund balance. That's about $1.8 million based on our budget draft for next year. The policy also calls for 1% stabilization. So you combine those two, back that out of what our projected fund balance is at the end of this fiscal year, that leaves $823,000 of unrestricted fund balance available for appropriation. Staff recommends that we appropriate $800,000 of that $823,000. So that leaves, if you continue to abide by your policy, that leaves $23,402 for future appropriation of unrestricted fund balance. So this is what the position of the board is. I mean, this is the position that you're in as a board. Staff recommends that we allocate this $800,000 this year, and we budget that, and that we don't go in and make major changes to our staffing. We don't do a reduction in force. We don't eliminate operating expenses or other things that we don't have to at this point in time. our hopes are, and the plan from the beginning when this economy ruptured and the federal stimulus money came in, was to ride this piece out by allocating fund balance each year. If the legislature in this next session, not this session, but next year, were to reduce our discretionary reduction in half, we're at a balanced budget. If they don't, and we continue to have a discretionary reduction next year of $1.6 million, then we'll have to find somewhere else to cut. We'll have to do a reduction in force. We'll have to either revisit your fund balance policy, because we will leave $1.9 million in fund balance for emergencies. So the board could revisit that and say we're going to allocate a portion of that and pay it back over the next few years. Or we could say next year, when we got to this point, we're going to have to do a reduction in force. But it all depends on which direction the state goes. It depends on which direction the federal government goes. And we live on a year-by-year basis, not knowing what the future holds. And that's why it's so difficult to develop a budget at this time of the year when there are so many unknowns. So, as you look at it right now, if we wanted to say, we're not going to allocate any more of our fund balance, we're going to keep more than the board policy calls for, we're not going to allocate any of this $800,000 this year, Dr. Hartness, then you're going to tell me that I have to go and find a place to cut all those things, and I would have to reduce our staff, because 80% of our budget is in staff. So that's kind of where we are. I think budget-wise, fiscally responsible, this school district has been fiscally responsible. There are some other school districts that will ask their local board of commissioners to make up the difference. This budget calls for asking the commissioners on May the 13th, when we do our budget presentation, for the same allocation that we asked for the last 4 years. So that has been the position of staff as we've worked through this process, as we've looked at where we are with fund balance. The recommendation from our office is, let's don't go do something drastic. You see all the things that are going on that are working in this school system. Let's don't cause a panic alarm to go off among our staff and our community and lay off people and not use the resources that we've banked just for this very reason. As we go through the next budget year, as the state economy is recovering, we're hopeful that the legislature will revisit this issue and eliminate the discretionary reduction. And if they do, we have ridden the storm and we're in perfect position next year. If they don't, then next year this time we'll be looking at some reductions. So that's as direct as I can be about this issue, and I would entertain any questions the board might have about the draft resolution and what we've been presented here tonight.
Dr. Hartness, I've got a question on the local current expense. Under non-instructional support, there's a $177,000 cut from 2012-13 to 13-14. That was a rather large. Lord, I don't know. It's just 12. I'm looking at it, what I've got here. Let me find it. Yeah. Yep, page 12. It's like the third one down, non-instructional support. Kind of explain that, of what that is, and even down when in instructional support 07, it's a $51,000 cut. And then I'll ask you about, and you can just touch them all, 850, the school allotments,
Okay.
68,000.
I wouldn't say that they're a cut in any of those areas. It's what that means, and Deborah, you help me out anytime you want to here. We use our local current expense to fill in where the state is not paying. So, for example, there may be a time as we look at the experience level of our teachers that we're going to put the most experienced teachers on the state payroll. We're going to put our least experienced possibly on the local. We're going to put people that are likely to retire on the state. I mean, Deborah knows how to make those things happen. So there may be years when we have more teachers or classroom teachers report code 01 on local, and there may be times that we're spending more of the local money on non-instructional support, such as our clerical people. So that we're not cutting clerical. When you see a decline there, we're not cutting clerical, we're paying for them in another place. When you see, this budget is just about as much the same as what we have this year as anywhere else. So Deborah, do you have anything to add to that?
I do. If you look at those first 5, 6 lines there, those are all salaries, and you will see one line may increase by 100,000, another line may decrease by 50,000. Until we see the state budget, this is an estimate of what we expect to be paying from local funds for next year, based on what we know about, as Dr. Hartness mentioned, the staff we have and where the best place to place them as far as whether we pay them from state or local funds.
And you do that, and I'm just curious, and I think I know the answer to this, but I think it would be helpful for you to explain this. Teachers are paid, that's a position paid.
Correct.
That's not a dollar paid. So
Correct.
you can move those
And
wherever it makes the most sense.
correct. On any given year,
utilize the funds.
it may be more beneficial to us to pay more teachers with local funds and less non-instructional support with local funds. So you will constantly move those back and forth. The ideal, what you're trying to get to is you want to have as many staff on state as possible, but the ones you want on state are those who are really receiving longevity pay, because if they're on state, then the state pays that. Okay, the state will give us X amount of dollars to pay for every employee that's paid with state funds, and whether it costs us $100,000 to pay them their longevity pay or $1 million, they're going to pay that. There's no they just put that money is just there. So we want to have as many staff that have 10 plus years of state experience on the state budget. So every year it's going to change based on retirements. Sometimes you'll have staff resign and move to another system or move out of the state. So you may have an influx of teachers with less experience, or you may be able to hire staff that does have experience from other state agencies. So every year in August, we're looking at this, and we are picking the right place to pay our staff from. So it does change from year to year. Once you put somebody there, doesn't mean they're there forever. It's going to be the best place where they're going to be for that budget year.
Depending on what the state ends up, their final allotment being, this will change, because Deborah will have to make decisions based on that final allotment. The state planning allotment is just pretty much worthless at this point, based on what we've received so far. What we have seen, though, is a trend that when you look at the position allotment, our position allotment is almost identical to what it was last year, because we've seen an increase in 6 students. So it's pretty much a wash. A half a position is what we picked up there. But you'll also notice a change in the dollar amount over there, which means nothing to Davie County Schools, because the state's paying whatever salary for those 309 positions or whatever it is. But the average salary in North Carolina has declined, because we've seen what's happened with the state teacher salary schedule.
What about the school allotment, the $850 on that same page 12? I know normally we have a finance committee meeting, and I wondered why we didn't do that this year too.
We didn't have one because there were very few changes. I mean, we weren't in a position where we were making major changes or having to make major decisions about, what to cut.
The difference on that, the school allotments, the $850, Mr. Ridenhour, if you'll look on Fund 8, the other special revenue funds, you'll see an $850 line there. So it's just about, they're still getting the same amount of funding. It's just that instead of it all coming from Fund 2, as it did this year, part of it's coming from Fund 2, the remainder is coming from Fund 8.
Dr. Hartness, the 2012-13 budget that's coming to a close, and this is a draft, I understand, and nobody knows specifics. Does the 2013-14 budget include the same number, and does it include the same number of staff, being teachers and teacher assistants and support, administration, et cetera, et cetera?
Yes, I mean, that's where we're at. We have the same number of students primarily. We may shift some staff from one school to another. There may be some changes with staff that are allocated for students with special needs if we have changes there, if we have a student that requires a one-on-one. You know, there's going to be some changes like that as they would throughout the school year, but primarily, structurally, we're not changing anything. No.
I've heard you say a couple times that worst-case scenario, if things go like we don't hope, but worst-case scenarios are the number one budget item in the school system is personnel. Is there a plan for a worst-case scenario? I know that right now the expectations are that state funding is going to be less for this budget. Federal budget is less, local, we're hoping, is the same. To receive the same kinds of service level with the number of personnel being paid, utilized, et cetera, for this past year, if that's going to be the same for the next year, what is there a contingency for a worst-case scenario?
If we were to get in a position where we saw significant cuts from the state when the budget were passed, the staff would work together and determine what scenarios would be the least intrusive to classrooms. And then we would bring the board recommendations and scenarios to choose from. So I don't, and I've been through this a number of times as superintendent. I've had the board ask me, well, what's the worst case scenario? And anytime you plan the worst case scenario, you panic your staff. So I don't think it's prudent for us as a board or as a superintendent to develop all these different scenarios and get everybody worked up about something that a lot of times never happens. So I would just say that, you know, we have planned through allocation of fund balance for this storm. And my recommendation is let's ride the storm out, and if the storm gets worse, then we round everybody up and say, okay, now it's time to take these steps.
And I can also say, as one of the oldest board members on this board, we as a board have always put the personnel and staff first because they have the direct contact with the children, and that's always been our goal, is to maintain our staff. And the budget that's been presented does that, and that is a goal of our board, has always been. Dr. Hartness, do we need to do a motion to approve this draft resolution?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, all right, I want to make sure. All right. Is there any more questions for Dr. Hartness or Deborah? Understanding it is a draft resolution, do I have a motion to approve as presented by our superintendent? Yeah.
Capital outlay projects. I'm confused. I would like some help. There were, the study that was done identified, I think, roughly $44 million worth of projects that were to be looked at serious. There were some student numbers changed from one school to another to alleviate some of those things, and there's a 10-year plan for addressing some issues. The issues in that were identified were categorized in priority levels, and this budget would be the first year of a 10-year process to allocate $1 million toward those identified needs. Am I saying all that right? Are you hearing where I am?
I followed you until you got to the $1 million of needs. I'm not sure where.
What is the capital outlay in this budget for those identified prioritized needs in those other schools.
Okay, if you will look at the Fund 4 capital outlay budget request, you will see a list of items, everything from general furniture through a driver's ed car, band equipment, some of the things there that are part of your capital outlay budget request that may not necessarily.
Page 14, 13.
It's 13, 14.
Okay. So you'll see a list of items there. You'll see a list of technology projects at each of our schools and district-wide that total $450,000. Then starting down with custodial equipment, van, a custodial van, HVAC at CDEC, maintenance equipment, lighting, door locks, boiler removal. All these are the projects that the maintenance staff identified as their top priority projects. You go down through and you see, for example, 5 lines from the bottom there on that first page, an alarm system upgrade at Pine Brook. That's the fire alarm system. It's $80,000. If you cross-reference that to our facilities assessment, that's one of the priority 1 projects that's there. So the maintenance staff is tracking these, and we're including those priority 1 projects in this budget. If you look at down here, the total capital outlay from half-cent sales tax and capital projects for maintenance and those things are about $1.2 million. And if you look on down below that, you'll see roof projects, covered walkway projects, HVAC projects, awnings. Those are items that we plan to pay for out of the North Carolina Lottery Fund. So your total capital outlay expenditures are right at $1.6 million. And you'll see down at the bottom the summary of where those 2 sources of revenue are. But the priority 1 and priority 2 projects, we don't have those identified necessarily on this page, but they, if you cross-reference back, that's where Michael pulled these top priority projects.
What is our unencumbered lottery now? How much do we have available?
So I didn't bring that figure with me this evening, but, gosh, I'm trying to remember what it was. It's well over $1 million.
Mm-hmm. I don't have that balance, but we can sure send that out to the board, what our unencumbered lottery balance is.
What we did was we looked at future revenue, and we identified an amount that would be available of approximately $400,000 of lottery funds then for this year's budget, and that enables us to still keep and have the $2 million for the new high school when that is approved when the bond is approved, so that we'll have the $2 million to put up for the building of the new high school.
Did that answer your question, Mr. Drexler?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Excuse me, Barbara, did you? No, I just wanted to say the budget is very complicated. It is very complicated, and I appreciate the questions by Mr. Ridenhour and Mr. Drexler. It's a hard thing to understand. But I just want to compliment our Chief Financial Officer, our superintendent, because I think if you go back and you look over the last years and you look at our auditors and the reports that they have come back with, the outstanding job that has been done, and for Deborah to be able to know, okay, this year I'm going to move this teacher here and that teacher there, that's certainly not something we would be aware of. But I just want to thank you for wisely making this budget work out. So appreciate it.
Okay. As I started to say, we do need a motion to approve this budget draft for 2013-2014. Do I have a motion to approve? Clint makes a motion. Do I have a second? Chad seconds. Any more discussion, questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those to approve? 6-0. Thank you. And I do thank both of you and the staff for the extra job.
Board
Yes.
members, I'm not sure whether I should tell you I'm delighted or I'm sad to say that we don't have anyone signed up tonight for public comment. So if you would like me to sing or describe the herbs in my garden or something, I'll be happy to take the time. Otherwise, I think we should move to the next agenda item.
Thank you, Jill, for not singing.
You can imagine by my speaking voice just how lovely my singing voice is.
We are going to move into staff reports and committee reports. Finance donation report, Deborah.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Hartness. I have one item for you this evening. It is the donations report, and we had a few donations this past month, and they are highlighted on pages 3, just page 3 of that report. And it's just there for your information.
The curriculum AIG plan, Danny.
Have among your board documents a draft of the new AIG plan as it is proposed by the committee that wrote it. In your packet, I give you the information that every 3 years, DPI requires that we revisit the AIG plan and make revisions and edits and sometimes a whole new rewrite. We are thankful that 3 years ago, DPI provided us a structure within which to frame that plan, and this new plan follows that same structure. It's the first time since I have been aware of AIG plans for about the last 25 years that we've used the same format for 2 rewrites in a row, which is a really good thing. The plan is framed around 6 standards. Each standard then has a certain number of practices that are associated with it for a total of 48 practices. We did have a very large committee of folks, including all kinds of stakeholders, parents, teachers, AIG specialists, building level administrators, county office folks, board members who worked on the committee to rewrite this. That large committee broke into 6 subcommittees. Each subcommittee then examined one of the standards and all the practices that went with it. We made edits. I put all those edits back together in a document, sent that out to the big committee for their review, and what you have before you is the final edit of that plan. From here, if you have questions about the plan, I will be happy to either answer them or find you an answer. We put it on this month's agenda as an information item so that it can lay over for 30 days and give you an opportunity to read the whole document if you wish. And if you have questions about it, give me a call and I'll try to answer them. To be quite honest, some folks wanted me to read the entire 68-page document to you tonight, and I demurred from that. I thought that would make really good television, but I don't really think it's necessary. If you do read the plan, though, and you have questions, please feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email, and I'll either answer your question or find you an answer to that question. From here, we would ask that it come back to the board in June as a business item for your approval. We then will submit that to DPI by July 15th. It has to be to the Department of Public Instruction. They will then send it to a group of experts who will review the plan, make recommendations for changes to us if they find that necessary, and eventually that plan will make its way to the State Board of Education, not for individual approval, but as a reporting item to the State Board of Education. So if you have questions, please feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email, and I'll see if I can answer them. Questions now?
I don't have any questions, Dr. Cartner, but I did get to sit in on one of the big committee meetings, and it was so impressive to see so many teachers in a room who what I heard out of their voices were, we just want to do more. We just want to do more. We want to give these kids more. We want to elevate. And that was really exciting to see. So I think that's why we're being recognized on a national level, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Next, the curriculum STEM pipeline summer camp. Did you want to say anything?
Madam Chair, may I stay here to describe that to you? Thank you. Members of the board, I would like you to just kind of open your vision, and community members, to the possibilities of a new horizon for our middle schools. The combination of working with Wake Forest University, Baptist Hospital Center for Excellence in Research, Teaching, and Learning, better known as CERTL, has really come to us in a very, very special way, because we've been able to write a grant. The grant has been accepted by CERTL. The combination of working with CERTL, with the Piedmont Triad Education Consortium, with the Davie County Community Foundation, and ultimately with the Mebane Foundation also as a participant, allows us to do wonderful things. When we say the STEM pipeline, we want to give you the big view. There's going to also be training for teachers in problem-based learning and project-based learning. And you will see this growing as the middle schools acquire more expertise. So that will be for middle school teachers and high school teachers. And we do have a hope that it will generalize to our elementary school teachers. I've already had an assistant principal point out that that's where it should start, at the elementary school. So it's an exciting venture. The organization of CERTL is very well known throughout the state for producing high-quality science project-based learning kits. Our teachers, 20 of them, will be stipended to have this training, and they will be able to have access to the kits, which is a huge bonus, and they will then be able to use them in their classrooms. Also, Mr. Don Tabbitt, who you saw earlier tonight, is going to be the director of the camp, and we're bringing in new student teachers for next year. One of them happens to be a science teacher who is going to serve with us in the summer in planning and in working at the camp. We just got a commitment. Dr. Kartner spoke today with that person. And we're also looking at some of the members of our Science Olympiad high school group as being more or less junior counselors. This is going to be highly focused on creating relevance and rigor and fun. So you're going to have field trips, you're going to have experiences that involve lab settings. The students will travel to the high school at some point and see the science labs there and participate in an experiment. We have other ideas that are just coming to fruition since we just got the funding, but it's very exciting. And it's important to note that we're looking at our students who are fully capable of meeting a high level 4 by prediction of EVAS on their biology score as a high school student. And they're not yet in 7th grade. So we would like to encourage them, foster this love of learning through project-based learning, and they will be our future AP students as they go into high school. We also have students who are right on the cusp, and with a little extra engagement and opportunity, they will be able to make a level 3 passing grade in biology and move on into perhaps honors division. So it's a way of doing a two-pronged effort that will really be a very exciting model. I'd like to thank the curriculum team, specifically Dr. Kartner, Donna McNeil, and John Marshall, for their intense effort on this and their collaboration with me and with others to just really make a vision come into fruition. So I'm very proud of what they've accomplished, and I'm very excited about this opportunity.
Does sound exciting. Wouldn't mind going back to middle school. That's great. The wrap-up for the robotics competition, who's doing, are you doing that, Noelle?
Well, I can. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm sitting down too long. Would you like for me to go there? Okay. I don't mean to be informal. The robotics competition ended just last week on Friday with a wonderful participation level. We had representatives from all of the teams from elementary and middle school. We had judges who were outstanding, including from our board, Mr. Fuller and Mr. Dressler, who absolutely gave they were indefatigable. They really were on top of it the whole time. We had community members. Mr. Brawley was there. Mr. Fuller was there. There were, actually, he's not Mr. Fuller. He's from Fuller Gray Engineering, and he is Mr. Fuller. Bullard, okay. Sorry, I don't have my list here. But the astounding thing was the Davidson Community College folks were there. The members of our community were there, our board members were there, parents were there, and the teachers who were serving as coaches and the principals were there. So it was just a very good end to a wonderful year of robust robotics competitions. So we are very proud of their accomplishments and wanted to let the board know that that was a big celebration on Friday.
I'd like to interrupt for a minute. It was very impressive. It really was. And I'd like to thank everybody that helped and was instrumental in putting it together. It was neat. It was really impressive to see the students. They were all very excited and intense about their programming. It was a really good evening. Really was. I enjoyed it.
Now, New Schools Project Visit, Dr. Hartness.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As all of you know, in our strategic planning process, one of our vision is to be the national model for educational excellence, and we want to use opportunities that come our way to see what is that national model. That was one of the big discussion topics in the strategic planning process. We received a call several weeks ago from the New Schools Project. The New Schools Project was originally started by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and they were responsible for organizing and starting up the early colleges in North Carolina. So we've worked with them for quite some time. They've worked with us with the Common Instructional Framework. That's the model for our early college. Now the New Schools Project is involved at Davie County High School in our STEM Center. We were invited to be part of the STEM Affinity Network. So New Schools called and said that they were planning a trip to a school in San Diego, California that is a national model that they have visited before, and invited us to send some folks along with Davidson County Schools and Elkin City Schools to a school called High Tech High School in San Diego. So we made a trip out a couple weeks ago, invited Jenda Haynes, our principal at Davie High, Noel Grady Smith, myself, and Clint Junker went out and visited this school, and Noel is going to give you a glimpse into what we experienced.
It's my pleasure to do so. This was a very quick trip, all business. Fly out there, go to the school, walk around all day, get on a plane, fly home. But it was very, very instructive. As Dr. Hartness said, this was the result of our being a member of the New Schools STEM Affinity High School Network. And we visited the High Tech High with expectations of seeing amazing high-tech, having our socks blown off with the technology. What we found was that High Tech High is actually a name given by the founding members. The founding groups were business people from the area who were striving to find a way to build their workforce. They wanted thinkers. They wanted problem solvers. And so they decided to go through a process of becoming a authorized high school. They were within the public school system in San Diego, and later they became a state charter school. Now there are 15 connected schools, elementary, middle, and high schools, that are part of the high-tech opportunity for students in San Diego. This is a lottery-based school. each of the schools housed about 400 students. So that would be your elementary school, 400. The 2 middle schools had 400 each, and the 2 high schools had 400 each. And then there were generalized into other areas of the San Diego area. I'd like to point out how they get to school. This is a good way for you to understand how different it was. We didn't see a lot of school buses. We did see a bus stop. We did see bicycles. And a clever teacher who had retired decided he would be an entrepreneur, and he invented the Never Tardy transit system. And he bought a couple of school buses, and these buses picked up the students and transported them on a daily basis to and from school. And our director, Laura McBain, said that she found that so humorous because he was a staff member who had a difficult time getting to the job on time. This is just a bird's eye view of the beautiful setting that we were in. San Diego has perfect weather, and we were there to experience some of that. The green that you can see in the center picture is a yoga class where a high school person is directing middle school students. There's a lunch break area. You see the Media Arts Middle School. This is a kind of a modified volleyball circle that was intense. That's all I can tell you. A good way to work off a lot of steam for these middle school boys. And then that's a view of the quad. This was actually housed in an area that was connected with the naval base. And when the naval base deeded it over to the city, the high-tech industry made an investment, and several of the buildings were then reconstructed to form schools. High-tech Middle School is one of the ones that you see here. We happened to be there on a Friday, and by the time we got to the middle school, we were into the phase where it was called exploration. And this was a time when students were encouraged to compose, create, do something that was original. And so you can see some of these. I'd like to point out the stools. The tops of the stools are on the top of that table. Those are not flat-bottom stools. Those are stools that wobble around while you're sitting on them. So they keep your kinesthetic learner very engaged. This is the Media Arts Middle School. As you can see, Projectopia was a big focus of that school. There were all kinds of specifically related to science or math projects that were illustrated through arts, which was very exciting. And this is a demographic study of the 6th grade. The way that project-based learning works is you design with your students a project to fulfill the knowledge base that you need. So you don't front-load the knowledge the way we traditionally do and then send students home to do a project. You do the project in the classroom, and you do the research in the classroom. And then the teacher analyzes where the gaps are, and they begin filling in the gaps as the project continues. The result is a final presentation. We were very impressed by the flexible and mutable spaces, and anybody who wants to jump in anytime. The spaces allowed for presentation. This circle is a collaboration area that's outside of the classroom. The classroom is what looks like a window pane there that goes straight into a classroom. These were very large spaces, and the construction of the schools allowed for a lot of display. They see their schools as a museum. This was the High Tech International School. As you can see, there is a curtained area there that was actually behind that was a graduate school class that was going on, as High Tech has joined the University of California in San Diego to produce a High Tech graduate program. So they're able to come out with a master's degree with the particulars of what it takes to be a teacher in that system. Display areas and informal conversation areas were prevalent. The spaces in general were very impressive, but I must say, the most impressive part were the students. The students conducted themselves just as you would have a conversation with a peer, a colleague. You went into a school, and even the middle school and younger students were happy to tell you all about their school. They do have 3,000 visitors that come through the school, and there are specifications of what they expect you to do. The rule of 2 feet applies. If you don't see it, walk somewhere else, and perhaps you'll see it there on one of the other campuses. So it's very inviting, and we had student ambassadors that were very impressive. It is a student-centered style of learning. Let me go back one. This is an example of the high-tech high school. The high-tech high school was the originally founded school, and the other schools grew out of that. In this particular classroom, there were physics students who were doing experiments, and they were also combining that with an arts production that was going to be going on. That's a botany class that has emerged with plant details. I'm not sure if you can see them, they're kind of farther back. A zoology emphasis on the habitat and different habits of the birds, and it's all listed in a project that's displayed. The high-tech high school had opportunities for students to create, but they had a very strong focus on the students knowing in a deep way the curriculum. So there was not a kind of the mustard spread that you see over the slice of bread. It was a very deep, concentrated way of thinking. And they feel that they may not cover every single thing, but they've taught the students to think in a way that helps them research and accomplish what they need to be proficient in examinations, and they have a very high graduation rate. This is an example of their robots. We were quite impressed. They're very large. The team is called the Holy Cows. They have placed nationally all over in very diverse competitions. This is just two examples. And they have banners. You know how you have banners in a gym? They have banners hanging that indicate their prowess in the robotics competitions. Project-based learning was just abounding everywhere we looked, including our elementary school. This is in the very center is a marine biology coloring book that was a middle school project. That is a published book available on Amazon. They believe that you should not have the stumbling block of publishing. You should publish as soon as possible. So they create and invite students to come in to projects, and then that results in a published document.
We see that Mr. Junker is clearly a hands-on learner.
I thought he was one of the professors.
The large wheel that you see is very intensely labeled, decorated, and is just abounds with information. And actually, it is a gears system that turns every single part of that display, and that's one of their projects. They use a digital wood burning to burn the information and the designs into the wood. It's pretty impressive. This is just a project that we thought was interesting with the elements in chemistry, and they were floating above us as we walked through the hallway on metal that had been constructed to form that accurately. The bicycle wheels, when you turn it, every single bicycle wheel turns, and that was a project resulting in a sequential study. There's a lot of gathering. You will see classes being taught, and you will also see students outside of classes without a teacher constructing their own solutions to problems. You will see teachers meeting to collaborate on the next lesson, and you'll see this is a classroom with all the glass that you see, and the display is of finished products of projects that they are displaying. They believe that everything they do should be able to be represented in a museum quality way. So we looked at things that were very exciting to see. I would say in review, we discovered that production versus consumption of information. The students actually produced information. They weren't vessels. They were actually active members in the design process. Students are required to interact with adults in a variety of professions. If they're working on a project, they call the person that they discover through research, and they have a conversation with them. One had to do with water use in the San Diego area, and they went straight to the authorities. They had a lot of information, and often those people come in to work with the schools. Projects were designed, as I said, with full participation of the student as part of the design team. The execution of design was graded throughout the entire project. Each student has an individual digital portfolio at the high school level. This is accessed by all of the students in the school and the staff, as well as the public. It is another example of publishing, and it serves as a tremendous calling card for colleges when these students apply. We like that a lot. In middle school and high school, the students are, as I said, publishing personal work. Workforce readiness is encouraged through senior externships in industry. Flexible learning spaces were very predominant, and we felt that was a great takeaway. There was built-in time for teacher collaboration, as well as space for it, and the school served as a museum of learning. Now, a few things we saw that we would not want to do. There was a very narrowly focused curriculum. Even high school had a block. You had your English, language arts, and social studies block, and your science and math block. Very little choice in terms of what you could take, and no AP classes were offered. So consequently, if you don't offer the AP classes, the students don't suffer from that if they're not taking them. So their ability to get students into college and maintain and graduated from college is very high, 98% going to college. But when you're working with 400 students in your school who have chosen to go through a lottery process, that does have something to do with the predestination of where these students intend to be. I did see a lot of inspiring work with students that I felt were perhaps on the edge, and then I saw a multitude of students who were highly engaged. The other thing we thought about was a little bit of concern. You saw the shots of the open campuses, and they had a big grassy area, a big quad that everybody kind of just mixed and mingled in. And in view of some of the security that we have put into force here in Davie County, I couldn't help but reflect with our colleagues, you know, what do you do if an intruder comes on campus, and how do you handle the safety issues? Parents seem to be very comfortable with the setting. We were in California, so, you know, we just decided to accept that as part of the cultural placement that we were in. We also noticed that there was a very small student body, and our goal is to not replicate what we saw, but learn from what we saw. And we do not want to be limiting in ways that would exclude Davie County students who want to be part of this way of learning or parts of this way of learning in any way. We want to encourage them. So that's why STEM Center has the broad spectrum that it has, and we are bringing students on at a rate of about 150 a year. So pretty soon we will have a student body in the STEM Center of about 600 students, which will be an exciting moment for us. So we found it very instructional. And I want to just reiterate that I was happy to be among the group that was able to go.
Mr. Junker, would you like to reflect?
I guess I better now. One of the things that, not that I learned, but that I reinforced what I already knew is we got a great group of people. It was a pleasure to go with the group that I went with, highly motivated. I tried to get them to talk about other things besides what we were seeing or what we saw that day or our students, and they wouldn't hear of it. They were just always collaborating with each other, and I know that that's not an exception. That's pretty much the norm. But the love and the caring that you guys have for our children is amazing and a lot of fun to be around. You've said it all. We went in, I mean, you're going to see High Tech High, so what do you think you're going to see? We didn't see High Tech High, I mean, as far as by the name, but we saw something different, and it's always great to see something different. It challenges you, opens your minds into new ideas. Some of the notes that I wrote down from whenever one of the administrators was speaking was that they really promote a community of practice there. As far as experimentation, kids highly involved in won't say curriculum, but just said the activities. I mean, there's a major involvement. You would go into most of the classrooms. I couldn't tell who the teacher was, because she or he were just so engaged with the kids and just blended in. And plus, it didn't hurt that they were very young. One of the guys also said, they don't like to think of themselves as a model, because a lot of times as a model for people to come in and look at it means to duplicate, and they didn't want you to duplicate what they were doing. You could duplicate the thought process and the open-mindedness and everything, but that means something different for Davie County. You can't do what they were doing and just come here and duplicate it. It just wouldn't work. And that's something I really like, just coming from the business side of it. It was just such an adult world connection, connecting with the businesses. I mean, it wasn't just, okay, now hand you off to the business. I mean, you could tell it was definitely a business-minded concept. And I thought, who else to drive and sort of tell you what they need than the businesses that are going to be hiring the students. So again, it was an honor to go. It was a privilege, and I appreciate it.
I would just add that Noel did a great job summarizing some of the things that were takeaways for us. We didn't see things that we just want to necessarily come back here and duplicate. There were a lot of things in Southern California that I don't want to have a part of in Davie County. But we also saw that, this was a charter model. So they're free from some of the restrictions that we have. But with that freedom, I didn't see any students with special needs. I didn't see any students that required transportation, because never tardy transit was a cost. You could ride your bicycle to school, the transit bus, get on the trolley, but those students self-selected to be there. So it was a select group of students. It was a small environment. The lunch program, Dawn, was provided by San Diego Public Schools, so they contracted with the public school system to do that. They had a traditional 180-day calendar. School started at 9 a.m. and ended at 3:40. Teacher planning was before 9 a.m. That was interesting. I was very interested in how they selected teachers. Many of their teachers are not certified, that they come from the business world, which is some flexibility they have, that they can bring some experts from the field. So that was pretty interesting. They had quite a big teacher turnover rate. And they also had flexibility to send students on their way who didn't behave. So they were sent back to traditional public schools. So it was a very selective environment in some ways. But the things that they were doing with problem-based learning and with project-based learning, students really engaged in solving a problem. The students were tremendous to talk to. As Clint said, it's like talking to another adult, because they had become comfortable interacting with other adults and dealing with big issues. So that was pretty impressive. And the thing that I really would like to replicate in a lot of ways is the way they treated their schools as a museum. When you walked into the school was a museum of finished products of students. It was about students, and I thought that was pretty special. The common instructional framework that we're using, the path that we're on with STEM of project-based learning and problem-based learning, I think is a really good process. And we saw it at work in this school in a much different environment that we work in a much smaller environment that we work in. But as Mr. Junker, the takeaway that I really walked away from was I was thankful to come back home. And I was thankful for what we have in Davie County. And I was thankful for our schools that serve every child, regardless of their socioeconomic background, regardless of their parents' income, regardless if they're on free or reduced lunch, regardless of whether they have a special need. We're there for every child. And it's a special place. So it's good to go away and see some unique things, but it also makes you very appreciative of what we enjoy here at home. So I want to thank Clint and Jenda, who's at her academic awards meeting this afternoon, and Noel for taking a little venture for a couple days and seeing something different. Board, do you have any questions for the team? Thank you.
Very exciting. And it is good to come back to Davie County. It always is. Now on the agenda, it is time for our board comments. And I think, Carol, are you first this time? I think you are.
I see some sleepy faces out there. So, obviously, we want to congratulate and recognize all of our students and our staff, and so proud to be recognized on a national level as well. That's just great. One of the best things I think we get to do as a board is advisory councils, which means we meet with the advisory council at every school. And that we've completed that this year. We learned so much from that, and it's just such a great experience to sit down face to face with parents and in some cases students and hear all the pluses and then some of their concerns as well. I just want to thank the principals for the great job that they did. Whoever did all the meals for us, that was so nice as well. And it's just was a really good experience. I want to thank Dr. Hartness, too. I think last night he did an excellent job presenting to the Board of Commissioners. He very thoroughly answered their questions, and so they were regarding our request for a public vote in November for our high school, but I appreciate what a professional job you did with that. And then, you know, we can celebrate so many great things, then I don't think we can forget some of the difficult times that we have in Davie County. We had two people I just come to mind. When I first moved here, the first person I met actually was Marie Ellis. She was a teacher right here in this school, and I started my daughter in the 6th grade with her. And moving in the 6th grade is difficult. She was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And as you all know, she and her husband lost their only son at 36 last night. But she had such an impact on so many. And then, of course, we all want to keep Angie Slaybach in our prayers. She, too, is one that has had an impact in so many ways, not only on our educational system. She was a renowned athlete and well-recognized student and a teacher, and just impacted people's lives in so many ways, not only in the school system, but in her church as well. So please keep her in your prayers as well, and the Ellis family. So thank you so much for being here.
I would also like to echo what Carol said about recognizing the folks that were recognizing the people that were recognized. It's always exciting to see students striving for excellence, and it's wonderful to see that happen here. I would also like to thank everyone for coming. I would also like to thank Dr. Hartness, as Carol did, for representing the school system last night in a very good way, and answering some questions that had been presented to him and the board on behalf of the Board of Commissioners. And I guess that's all I have.
I have several things. I was a tiny little part of a big process. Congratulations to those that were the big part of the process, Dr. Kartner and those involved in that AIG process. That, to me, it was interesting to come back, used to be a school teacher, then in business, and come back as a board member and witness what was going on in that process, what was just really, really good. The finished product, by the way, I think you'll all be impressed with when you read it. Recent participation in teacher assistant banquet, that was a lot of fun, a lot of recognition for people that work hard for a year. The student recognitions at the Brock Center the other night with Elena Geiger, who I got to introduce, and Ellen, my wife, the clerk, deals with her daily. What a fireball. Can we hire people? Can we actively go recruit teachers? If we could get her, whatever you wanted her to teach, she would be a fireball. And then I think, Chad, I might need to apologize to you for my behavior at the robotics competition the other night. I had an absolute blast at that event. I probably embarrassed you big time, but I was picking with people in the stands and the kids that came to the tables where we were, that what they put in the actual work of the competition and everything that took place prior to getting to that event, it was just really, really good. To make the Newsweek list of one of the top high schools and early colleges, I think that's just absolutely incredible for Davie County, but I don't think you left this out intentional, but having had kids that went through the school system and are doing really well, I've got to add some congratulations to preschool, elementary, and middle school teachers and staffs that were involved in getting all of those kids that are recognized in this high school, getting them to that point. The high school staff, surely, for taking them from ninth grade on, but there was a lot of work that happened in the earlier years that got those kids ready to accept the challenge of and participate and work through high school. Congratulations to all those that were recognized for any level of academic or arts or sports, et cetera, tonight. It's an example of people that have dedicated themselves to doing way beyond just showing up and being in school, and that's good. That's a real, real good thing. On a personal note and school public note, congratulations to everyone and anyone in the Davie County school system who participated in any way to help my son get to the point where he graduates this Friday, summa cum laude. That's not like me, howdy laude, how come. Summa cum laude from North Carolina State University, number 4 in his class in his architectural program. That is a personal thing, but it is a congratulations to any teacher or staff member that ever had anything to do. Miss Johnson, stand up, please. So she's waving. There was a lot of people that were involved in helping him get to the point where he is, and if you'll see me at the door, I'm now taking up donations because he's entering into another year to get his licensure program. So Ms. Johnson, I'll see you over there. All right, that's it. Thank you very much.
I think that covers everybody. I just we're left with teachers, principals, and everything like that. Just a thank you to you guys, the dedication and going above and beyond. And again, everyone that's been thanked before, thank you.
We do have 4 members of the public that's still out there. They must have a boring life. But anyway, I want to thank each one of you for coming out and congratulate those that were recognized tonight. We're just another month and we're ending up another school year, and it seems hard to believe, but I hope the last month goes well for each of you, and I know it's a lot to get done in these last few days, but I know we got the people in place that'll do it. And I just want to mention something about what Carol said about Fred Ellis Jr. and Angie Slaybach. We just need to lift those families up in our prayers. I know I can't imagine what it would be to lose a child, and then see one of your children there, basically, in our last days. But let's lift those families up. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying with us this evening. It has been a very exciting evening, and we have honored a number of people. It just shows the quality and the class that Davie County has, and the commitment that everyone who works in our school system, the staff and everyone. I do want to thank Dr. Hartness for an outstanding presentation last night at the County Commissioners meeting. I do appreciate you standing there and answering all those questions. Character Ed was magnificent. All the students we recognized in the past month as well as tonight, and staff members. And I just do want everyone to remember that we need to start spreading the good news about public education, because that is where it is, and we need to honor everyone who plays a part in that. So please start spreading the good news about public education. And we all on this board have heavy hearts in regards to Angie. And we want all of you to have a safe trip home. And we have the month of May and graduation around the corner. I now need a motion to adjourn. Steve makes the motion, Paul seconds. All in favor? 6-0. Thank you.